Hello beautiful people. Today we are talking about Lurpiv trucks. I'm super hyped. I got my box in the mail yesterday. I've been waiting months, so long for these. The day that Oscar announced that he's starting a truck company, I was so stoked. And then the day that he announced that there's pre-orders available, I pre-ordered these right away. So in this video, we're going to be doing a little bit of an unboxing to show you what these trucks are like. I'm going to be setting them up, and then we're going to get some initial thoughts. We're going to go out and skate them, and then I'll do a more in-depth video following up with these trucks, probably in the weeks or months to come. Let's jump right into it. I'm super hyped to open up this box. The box was stuck in Germany for a super long time, and ooh baby, that's what's rad. It comes in this tin box, which is really cool. It's just like, I don't know, has a little more to it. Like Independence or any other trucks, I think normally just come in a bag. I've never seen this kind of presentation for trucks. So I think presentation is crucial when it's something like this. And this is a very quality, well-designed, re-engineered truck. So let's go into some of the specifics on these trucks and open them up. I'm super excited right now. I'll show you guys first. Oh, wait, there's a note. It says, sorry for the delay. Here are your Lurpivs. Hope you like them as much as I do. Keep grinding. Oski. That's super dope. Supporting the skater-owned companies. Let's get that. The initial reveal. Ooh, baby. Wow. They're actually a lot darker than I thought they were going to be. Let's go into some of these details as we check these bad boys out. So Lurpiv trucks are developed by Oscar and Rosenberg. The truck is a solid aluminum body by casting with aerospace technology through Rio casting, a new two-axle system developed to ensure better grinds, durability, and minimal weight. All components are H7 grade to give the best handling performance. Come in 139mm and 149mm. I grabbed the 149mm, which fits a board between an 8 1/4 and 8.75. It has a reverse kingpin ensuring the lowest profile special design pivot bushings for sharper response. Top and bottom bushings adapted for maximum stability and turning performance. Designed with built-in wheel washers on hanger and nuts to create minimum bearing friction. So yeah, I mean, this presentation alone is just amazing. Like the way that they come all fitted in this tin box is super rad. You can definitely use this box later too. Maybe you can use it as a skate box, put all your wax and extra skate parts and tools in. Lunch box for when you go to school. Wow. These are so light too. It's insane. So before I dive into my personal subjective opinion on these, let's just compare them really quick to the weight of Indies and Aces. So first thing is first, kind of want to just test the weight on them. Lurpiv are truck 1, 12.98, right on the border there. These are 159 Independents and those are 55 Aces. 13.76. The Indies have been grinded down quite a bit too, so we've already lost some weight, but so far Lurpivs are lighter. And we got the Aces, which are known for being a pretty light truck. 13.86. Out of these three trucks right here, the Aces, Indies, and the Lurpivs are the lightest, and these are all very similar sizes. Now obviously this isn't a super in-depth, detailed review in between comparing the difference between Lurpiv and Ace and Indy. It's more just for a quick overview. I definitely do think as far as the weight goes, there's no questions asked. Lurpiv is definitely the lightest truck out of the three. Let's set these bad boys up. To be honest, the initial thoughts on these, it's insane. The one thing that I noticed right away is just the overall design and structure. Like on this side, there's a hard edge of the truck where most trucks kind of bend down and they go back around. So there's a hard edge, and then this side fully goes over nice and round all the way through. So kind of the point, just comparing it to this Indy for the sake of comparing it, it has more shape to it. There's more like geometry to it, even compared to an Ace trucks, which Aces are known for having a lot of geometry. But if you look at these two right now, you can tell that Lurpiv does have a lot more kind of like harsher edges to it, but where it's most important, like all over here, it's very seamless, nice round edge. And the other thing I noticed right away too is the pivot cup. Like it's square and shaped up here, and then it goes round right at the end into the pivot cup, where most trucks, they have this round shape that goes into the pivot cup, and then a lot of times that creates problems. So I'm really interested. And then there's a little bit of a leverage, like there's a gap in this pivot cup in between where the hanger is coming into it. Just looking at it, it looks like it's going to turn so much better. Let's see if Ace does it before I mention it. Nope. Is that they actually drilled in little pre-areas for your hardware so that your hardware don't move around. That's something that's common with trucks, is actually you ride them so much that your little hardware areas actually get wider and your hardware will never keep it tight. So your truck's constantly getting loose and you always have to get a new base plate. So it's a little intuitive design things that this truck really does, where a lot of trucks do lack that consideration. So super hyped to set these bad boys up and get some initial dots today. The other thing that I think is really cool about these that actually save you a lot of time, something that I sometimes skip altogether, is washers on wheels, because it just gets annoying when you're setting up a board. Sometimes they put the washers and you forget them. They're so little. You don't actually need washers with these trucks. Like I said in the very beginning, they actually have designed the bolts and the truck at the very edge to have little washers. Like, it's basically already shaped on there so that it allows your bearings to have that little extra spin space. There's less friction. Cool. I think those little intuitive things in the design make it rad. Like, I don't need to worry about washers anymore at all. I think that's like such a cool thing. My board sizes always kind of range too. I skate in between like an 8.25, sometimes even up to a 9. So this board kind of has a tapered, and at the very most it's an 8.5 at the widest area. I think Oski actually was riding this similar board, so he probably had these exact trucks on, I'm gonna guess. I don't really do risers. I'm not a big risers fan personally. It's totally subjective. I think you can do it if that's what you want to do. Comparing them to an Indy, they're a lot darker. If you compare these two metals right away, you'll see there's more like grit to this kind of metal altogether. Like, it feels like there's just more of a texture to it. It's not as smooth as this. It's not as buttered up. That's almost, I think, a good thing. Definitely feels less of like this like perfectly casted thing. Like, you can see there's some blemishes on it, but those blemishes also kind of make it seem like it's just more of an indestructible truck. So we'll test these out. Something I did notice is just the coloring of them. I actually don't like to tighten, there's the first one, or loosen trucks when I first get them. Kind of like to try to just ride them as they are and let the bushing sort of be curated to my type of skating over time. Time to get the wheels on there. That's a big thing, is like the screw is definitely different on the inside because it has the washer. For a lot of other truck screws, pretty much the same. I don't know any other truck company that's like doing a different screw. Besides Ace, you do have the 3-threader that it comes with. Bolts just seem like so industrial. Everything about these trucks seem so industrial. It's like a Volvo, and I've been driving a Hyundai, you know? Not a huge car person, but some of you might get that. All right, the trucks are on there. Holy, I'm juiced. It looks like, to be honest, they're a little bit smaller than I think my 55. They are. And there's only 2 different sizes of these trucks. I'm sure there'll be more sizes in the long run, but I actually got the biggest option. So let's head over to the park and see some initial thoughts and see how these bad boys grind and just how they churn. I'm super stoked. Let's head to the park. that was my first session with the Lurpivs, and I had a blast. I figured I'd give you some initial thoughts on these trucks. This isn't a super detailed review video or anything like that because I need a little bit more time with these. I need like some months with them to give you a legitimate fair comparison to other trucks or anything like that. So I figured we'll just jump into it. One thing that I didn't do right away is I didn't tighten or loosen them. I just skated them as is. So that first thing, all that skating you saw, that wasn't adjusting any kind of anything on here at all, because I have this theory, and I've mentioned before on this channel, is that if you don't tighten or loosen your trucks and you just skate them as they are when it comes, your bushings will curate to your type of skating versus you trying to make it curated right to how you want it right away. That's just my theory. It might not work for everyone. It has worked with me for a long time, so that's pretty much what I do instead of switching out bushings. I used to do that. Probably the first thing right away that anybody wants to know is how is the churning on them, because obviously they have some crazy geometry to them, the shape with the T-hanger, everything like that. They do look very much like an independent stage 1 from 1978, which is a very old truck. So it's an interesting new version of a very old kind of style of a skateboard truck. So as far as churning with these trucks, I've never felt like this much stability with as much maneuverability at the same time. So the point being is I think you can have a lot of that churning that you get out of Ace's, really sharp churning, without having to have super loose trucks. I think that's sort of like the conundrum with Ace trucks. People don't want to try them because they're scared that they're too loose, and they want to have tight trucks with that sharp churning. So I think that's what they have accomplished. That's what Oski has accomplished with the design and the churning part of it. Altogether, the churning is amazing. This is the best churning truck that I've ever ridden in my life. I've ridden tons of different trucks over the course of my entire time on a skateboard. So I honestly think the churning on them is amazing. All the geometry, I mean, just looking at them, I'm sure you'd see right away, it's pretty crazy how they're all teched out. So yeah, churning is very, very impressive. I've never had such a good churning truck, so not much more to say as far as the churning on them. I'm sure a lot of people would be concerned with the height of the truck. For me, it's not too much of a concern. I do think it is a little bit of a higher, but it's not as high as I think it looks like just visually looking at it. I think a lot of what that comes from is just the design, because it's such a sharp T hanger, and the way that it looks, it makes it look like it's actually much higher than it is. I'll definitely let someone that's more tech do a more in-depth review on something like the height on them, because to me, that is not a super big concern of mine. I think some people are more concerned with getting close as they possibly can to the ground to get the most pop that they want, and I get that. For me, I am definitely skating more transition and things like that, so I'm more concerned about the grinding and the churning and the overall performance of them. As far as durability on these trucks, I mean, again, I'm gonna have to skate them for a much longer time, but they are made in Sweden. They have the Rio casting, aluminum. The finish on them looks really good. You can see the grinds from the very first session. As far as like the actual grind, they grinded really good, almost like extra fast at some points. When I was just trying to do like really slow 50/50s, I was going extra fast on the pull coping. I'm not sure if it's because they're brand new or if that coping happened to be really sauced up. Everything felt really fast. So I was grinding some parking blocks as well. Those grinded really good. Everything felt like really nice as far as the grinding. I think one thing is for sure is that these have had a pretty intensive like QC process. Like they're not like maybe some other trucks where they've tried to really push it and they come out with a product that didn't have as much of a QC process. I think they really did put these through the test, and there's been videos online of people like drilling into them. You can see them on Lurpiv's Instagram and other places, so I'm excited to see how long they last. One other thing that I did notice online is that people were really concerned about the pricing, and I looked it up, and independent trucks are $44.95 each, which is $89. Ace trucks are $33 each, which comes out to $66. And then we have Thunder trucks, which are $29.99 each, which are like $56.98. And Lurpivs cost $91 a set. So I think the confusing part that people didn't get is that they're not individually spec'd out and priced like a lot of truck companies do. They just price it as one truck. They're selling them as a set. So yeah, they're a little bit more expensive maybe than other trucks, but they're not much more. Like we're talking about like $4 more than independents right now, depending on which ones, which kind, which hollow, pro. Obviously there's a lot of variables to consider, but as far as the pricing on these, like you're paying for a truck that is made in Sweden. I'm sure everyone there is getting treated very well, and you're getting a truck that is made from a skateboarder that designed it from the ground up. I think like there's just so many different reasons to justify the price really quickly. It's not like I'm to say that everything made in China is horrible, but I'm just saying these trucks are definitely have more integrity throughout the build and design and the overall process. So that's my initial thoughts on these trucks. I'm super hyped to go skate them some more. I'm really excited to go skate in general now that I have these trucks, to be honest. Obviously, I'm still recovering from an injury, but I think right now, after that first session, I am juicing to get out and ride these things in ditches and bomb some hills and just, you know, skate them for a much long time. So I'm sure I will be making another video in the long run, kind of a more in-depth review on these trucks. So subscribe to see that video. Smash that like button if you enjoyed this one. See you guys in the next one. Mash.